I am the disabled guy with the disabled life. That podcast is going to be about disabled issues and other things that interest me and others from the disabled community. I did this so that people understand what we go through in life and what we do, because a lot of what we do, it is interesting. I am also going to talk a little bit about ADA and things of that nature. It's something that's very important to me and something that I learned a lot about when I did an episode. I'm going to talk more about it. Okay, this podcast it's going to come out at 10 p.m. Saturday and Wednesday. So, at so that's when that's that's when I think most people listen. Most people listen at night or have the episodes there for during for the daytime. So, let me stop this. Stop. Okay. This is a re-record of a previous episode that I've done. The reason it's a re-record is because I had this episode done. It was, and I put my episode on YouTube, and this episode had music to it. So, being that this episode had music to it, I got a thing where they weren't allowing me to use that music, even though it was a Spotify, it was Anchor at the time that gave us some free music that we could use. So to avoid all this hassle, I decided, hey, I'm gonna redo this episode. This episode is on IEPs or individual educational plans for the people in the disabled that are in special education classes or special ed. This is an episode that I did because I want to explain to people why and how the special ed plan works. It's called the plan is called an IEP. So what happens is when you go into school in elementary schools, this starts or maybe earlier, I think, maybe earlier. So what they do is they find your strengths. Like for example, they find your strengths. They grade you on a curve, and they grade you on what your strengths are in elementary school. So so this is done. Then they update that IEP every year with goals and things of that nature. When you go into middle school and high school, things are different. Still, you are helped, and let's say you need a paraprofessional in a classroom. That's that's stipulated in that AP. So that's stipulated, but you'll also get asked as a student. You can also ask where you need help. If they need help for a test or something, you can ask for a para to be in the room and help you with the test. If you need to read or write, whatever. So next, so when you're in high school, you have the right, and you should be in the program. Not in the program, sorry. You should be in the meeting with the IEP, which I've been in before. I was in the meetings when I was in high school. I was invited in, and I went. I went in there with my parents and them and all the school people. Um, I mean, all the school administrators. I went there and I did this thing, and it's interesting that we have input when we're in high school. We start to allow us in. I don't know if I was allowed in because I was an adult or just because that's the way it is. Because in high school, when I graduated high school, I was 18 years old. Because I'll explain that situation. That should not have been, but the problem happened that I had a surgery when I was a child, and I was held back 1 year. I was held back 1 year in elementary school. So what happened is, let me give you the example. I I was supposed to graduate in 1992. No, correction. Correction. I made a mistake there. I was supposed to graduate in 91, but I was supposed to graduate at 17 in 91. So, but because of that school, because of that operation, and held me back 1 year. It threw it threw all my school career back a year. It would have been 2 years, actually. It would have been 2 years that I wouldn't have been held back. But I made a decision. I made a decision when I was in sixth grade to do what they called homebound teaching. What that is a what that is a program where a teacher would come for 2 or 3 hours a day. Let's say 1 to 2 days a week. I think it's that. And they would come and they would do classwork, help me do classwork, or whatever. So at that point, it was like I was getting classwork. So I was doing sixth grade. I did sixth grade partially at home, and that's how I got out of. That's how I left elementary school at that point. Because I could have been held back another year, and I would have graduated in 1993. I didn't really want to do that. I didn't know what year I was being graduated, but the thing that I saw is I need to get out of. I was tired. I was frustrated. I was frustrated with a teacher that I had in elementary school, my sixth grade year, and I was like, no, 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 no. I didn't say this to my parents, but I'm thinking I got to get out of here. I can't stay here another year. It's Even though middle school was hard for me, but I adjusted. It was worked. It was something that I helped make the decision, and after that point, I just graduated. After that point, I continued on, and I graduated with my class, and so so sometimes you have to help parents make decisions for you. It's something I need to do, something that we need to do when we can. Yeah, it's my school career was not easy. It really was not easy. With that, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to my episodes. My episodes will come out Monday and Wednesday. You can listen to me on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and many others, including iHeartRadio. The reason I've done this podcast is to give people a voice, because I think that the disabled community is missing a voice. But I am in a unique position of being able to afford minimal equipment to do this. I'm going to give you my email address. My email, if you want to contact me, is ke4key@gmail.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, at the Disabled Guy, and a few other places where I put my episodes out on Facebook too. With that, thank you for listening.